Yo, what's good, guys? So this video is going to be much more about my lore. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to try to keep it concise again. I just about just kind of information about me and how I grew up and my hobbies and just stuff like that. Um, my name's Ethan Glenn for anyone that doesn't know. I'm 21 years old. I live in Washington State. I'm Pisces, born February 26th, 2005. Um, right-handed. Um, I used to play basketball my whole entire life. That was my first love ever. I used to be like, I honestly feel like back in my prime, which was like ninth grade, 10th grade, like ball knowledge. Like I used to watch NBA all the time. My favorite player was and still is LeBron James. I'm a LeBron bandwagon. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to admit that. Um, but yeah, like I love LeBron. I've lost passion for basketball and NBA recently, just because I'm gonna be honest, I've just gotten busy with life, with work and streaming and all of that. That like I just don't have time to watch a game or play basketball. Which I gotta make time to play basketball. I really do, because I still like I'm just itching to play basketball right now. I really am. I'm lazy sometimes. Um, but yeah, no, I played basketball. I think I started fourth or fifth grade, and then played like on a team up until ninth. I tried out senior year, I believe, or junior year, and I just I didn't have it at the time. I was winded. After first day of tryouts, I just felt like, I literally thought I was dying. I remember that. Like I remember telling you guys could ask my parents or my friends. I thought I was dead. Like my legs, I couldn't go upstairs. That's how out of condition I was. Um, and basketball was fun. I know there's a lot of people that probably think I'm trash at basketball, which, maybe certain days I'm not the best, but I still think that I could beat majority of the people. I really do. I might be delusional saying that, but I really do think I could beat most people playing basketball. I'm not saying I could beat everyone, or I'm not even saying I could beat, like 75%. I'm saying I could beat 51, you know, or 50.1% of people in basketball. That's what I'm saying. Um, but obviously I love video games. I play it on stream. I wouldn't if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it for. I wouldn't want to pursue it as my profession. Um, but like I started off playing games like Lego Batman, Lego Star Wars. Was it the Complete Saga? And then I don't even remember after that. Like I remember there's this Cars game I played. There's like this Super Mario or like Mario World game that I played. Mario Kart I played. Obviously, everyone's played that. And then I got into like Halo. I played all the Halos. Um, and then like obviously down to 2K, and I've been playing that since like 2014. Um, and then I got really into choice games. Like I think The Walking Dead, the first Telltale season with Clementine and AJ. Oh, not AJ. Well, technically AJ was in it, but Clementine and Lee. That still to this day is probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. Like, I love that game so much, and I love. I cannot stress you guys how much I love story games, and not even story games, but choice or narrative driven, like you know, different ending type games. Like I love Life is Strange. I love all the Life is Strange games. I love Detroit Become Human. I love Heavy Rain. I love, you know, the Walking Dead games. Like I said, I love Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a crazy good game. I love Until Dawn. I love um all those dark anthology games. Like every one of those games where like any character could die, or there's like 15 different endings and you can make choices, and your version of this character could be different than like um your friend's version of that character. Those are my I just love those games. And then obviously I played like Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that's my second favorite video game of all time. It's just so good, you know. Hey, I'm waiting for GTA 6. I'm hoping, you know, maybe that'll blow me up. Who knows? Um, but yeah, just I've been in love with video games my whole life and basketball, and that's just something I've, you know, wanted to do. Um, and as far as school goes, I was never really good at school, to be completely honest. Um, one trait I have that kind of it's like a trait that it's in a lot of like my favorite like activities. I don't know how to explain it, but like I'm lazy. I'm kind of a lazy person, and that didn't help me at all. It doesn't help anyone, but like it made me like not go anywhere in basketball because I didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't want to like I didn't have the work ethic to actually be in the gym and work out in the gym, and I still don't to a certain degree now. And I didn't have the work ethic to like actually do a lot of homework after school or do anything like that. And it all comes down to like it's not even just laziness, it's also like a pure like perception, like I'm scared of what people think thing. And it's like I was always scared of like looking like a tryhard or looking like a geek or looking like a whatever the case may be. And I always just did things a very like just non-noticeable way. Like I was never the worst at anything, but I was never the best at anything, if that made sense. Um, and that's always kind of been how I've, you know, been. Um, and you know, my whole life, you know, I've and till this day, obviously, I'll never say that like it probably always will stay with me that fear of like what people think about me, and um, you know, that fear of like if I say the wrong thing, that someone's gonna like not want to be friends with me, or just I can get into that maybe later, but that can be a whole hour video. Um, but no, yeah, like I remember senior year, I didn't even think I was gonna graduate until they handed me a slip, like an attendance slip to graduation, to graduation. Which like if you got one, that means you were able to graduate, and if you didn't, that means you weren't able to graduate, obviously. Um, I had like a 1.9 GPA. Like I promise, I was like if the line is right here to graduate, I was like right here. Like I just barely was able to pass that. Um, and after graduation, I had a year, so I graduated June of 2023. Um, and then from June of 2023 until I think September of 2024, I didn't do shit. You know what I mean? I stayed in the house, ate food, caught up on a bunch of shows like The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, all this stuff. When I say caught up, I just mean like I watched all these shows for the first time and realized how good they were. Um, and you know, just kind of like stayed in the house. It was a cool time. Like I look back on it, I didn't, you know, I didn't get out the house much. I played basketball sometimes, but like, you know, not really that much or whatever. Um, so I was kind of just in a chill spot, but you know, I had to get out. I had to get a job at some point, and so I got my license like January of 2024, and then um, I got a job September of 2024, and that was cool. You know, I'm a merchandiser if you guys didn't know. And right now, this is a funny story. Right now, as a merchandiser, and I'm not bragging or anything like that. I promise, I'm not that kind of guy. I like to always be humble. My friend Carson and I are the two best merchandisers on our team of like 13 people. But it was not like that. Like when I first started, I was horrible. Like I was slow. Like I said before, I was in the house for like the last year and a half. You know what I mean? Like I was just was not. I was not up to par. I almost quit. I remember this. Like I vividly, like I remember I was crying after the first week because I'm like, you know, I just couldn't take it. I had a boss that he was trash. Like he didn't like me at all. Um, and I hated him, and I was gonna quit. But then there's this girl that was a merchandiser. Her name was Skyla, or is Skyla. She's my lead now. She's like the sole reason why I'm still with this job. You know, she's a great person. And so I stuck with the job a little bit, got better, um, and I'm still there. And now I've gotten to a point where I went from being one of the worst merchandisers, constantly making mistakes, was slow, all of that, to now I'm like I'm the person that like my boss sends if like another team needs help, or like like Carson and I are like we're just him essentially. Um, so that's just one of those things I've thought about. You know what I mean? It's how what my life's been the last year and a half. And it's a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie. When you feel valued and when you feel respected, um, it's an amazing feeling. But it's also you gotta be careful because you feel it too much, you let the feeling get into your head. That's when ego and pride take over, I feel. And once that happens, that's when, you know, you know, you're gonna have to be humbled a little bit. And that's why I think it's always good to be humble, and it's always good to know where you came from and to have people or, supporting cast around you that, not be mean with you or anything, or not demean you, but give you kind of constructive criticism, or, tell you when you mess up, or whatever the case may be, or, when you put yourself, when you have a lot of ego. Because I firmly believe everyone, if you guys want to be the best at whatever you guys want to be, you have to have a little bit of ego. I'm not saying everyone has to act like you guys are just like hot shots and the best thing ever, and you guys like gotta be disrespectful to other people, but you have to some degree, do think you're the best ever. You don't have to like say that to everyone else, but like you have to know in yourself that you have to give yourself the expectation that you can do this, that you are who you want to be, that, or you are what you're gonna go where you want to go, and you're gonna be the person that, in 15 years from now, like the little version of you, like would cry and be like, "There's no way that like this is what my life would be," if that made sense. Sorry if I'm not making a lot of sense right now. I'm still literally off the top of the dome. I don't have a script or anything, but yeah. So it's like with this job I have right now, I'm not making a ton of money off of it. I'm having fun. I've met a lot of cool people. I've met obviously Carson. I met Jaden. There's a store I'm always at that it's like a family to me. Every time I go there, it's um, I just know a lot of good people, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. I wouldn't change anything. But um, no, yeah, and as far as that, like I've as far as my lore goes with relationships or something like that. Now this is a tricky. This could be a little tricky to talk about, but like the first girl I really ever liked, like if I'm talking about really ever liked, was this girl I met in junior high. I'm not gonna say her name because I promised her I wouldn't bring her up anymore on stream or anything like that. So I'm giving her that respect. But it was this girl. She was Latina, and she's this girl I liked in 7th grade, and then I think she dated like, or I don't know if she dated, but she kind of did date like one of my friends in 8th grade, and then I don't know, they broke up or something happened, but like she was single in 9th grade, and then like I really liked her in 9th grade, and I remember one of my boys, Rafi, came up and was like, "Hey, who do you like?" And I was like, "Oh, Yaneli." I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna edit that out. Um, but like it's like, "Oh, I like this person." You know what I mean? And uh, he's like, "Oh, okay, interesting." And then next day, uh, he was like, "Oh, I think she likes you too." And then I think that weekend, or like a weekend or two after that, like she added me on Snap or something like that, and then like texted me on Snap, and then we started talking, and then we kind of dated for a little bit, and then Um, once COVID happened, this was right before COVID. So this was ninth grade was 2019, 2020. So this was literally like almost COVID year. And then COVID happened. She moved. Just, life kind of caught up, and I never felt like, there's a lot of things that happened and we just didn't talk again. And then after that, Slim's love life wasn't really existent at all. Um, until I met this girl from Stream, which, um, I have love for her, you know what I mean? I don't hate her at all, but, um, I don't think I can ever date someone from Stream again, that, or one of my viewers. Uh, Cause this girl, you know, bless her heart, uh, went through a very traumatic life, and, um, just, it was a situation that I shouldn't have been in. I met her playing Fortnite through stream, and then we ended up talking, and we'd like FaceTime every day, and we'd say we were dating, and she was bipolar, and all this stuff, and, I care for her, but there's a lot of stuff that she did or whatnot, and there's some stuff I did too, obviously. She doesn't deserve all of the blame. Um, that, like, just, I stayed way past when I should have stayed, if that makes sense. And, after I left that relationship, which was back in October, I believe, of 2025, uh, that girl from ninth grade reappeared into my life, right, chat? And I remember I was ecstatic because I was like, it's like the first girl I ever liked. This is crazy. Um, you know, this is amazing. I tried, like, my main thing was, and guys and girls listen to this. I forgot to tell you guys, another reason why it didn't work out well in ninth grade is I pretty much had an online relationship with her IRL. And what I mean by that is we would text all the time, but when I saw, her in school, I was too scared to say anything. I was too nervous. And then so, like, I always would feel bad. And then I think that led apart to why we stopped talking. And then, fast forward to what I'm talking about now, whereas I meet her through stream again. And the main thing at this point, right? I'm not looking to date her. I'm not looking to even maybe be a friend, but that's, the most. The main thing I wanted to, because now that I can talk to her again, I wanted to apologize to her. And I did that. And then she started watching my streams more. And then we started talking more off stream. Not a ton. She was always kind of a very dry texter. And, like, you text her at 10:32 on a Tuesday, and she's probably going to text you back on a Thursday at 9 o'clock at night. She's not a good texter. But, we just started talking more. And then we kind of talked about, like, dating a little bit, and back then I apologized, she accepted it, and, you know, she kind of said something along the lines of like, yo, like, you know, I brought it up, was like, I wonder what would happen if we never stopped talking and whatnot, and she was like, we'd probably still be dating. And, she said all this stuff, and we talked, and we FaceTimed, and we did all this stuff that, it seemed like, I liked her, and she liked me. I never thought it was going to get to the point it is now. Um, and then it did. And we never dated, but I asked her, this was back in February, early February, maybe late January. No, this was late January actually. I asked her like if like if I win a game against her in 2K, if she wants to go to a date when she flies out to Washington, because she was supposed to fly to Washington. And she said yes. And then like a week later, she just randomly texted me and was like, "Hey, I found some things out. I'm cool just as friends." Which, this is my mind state, right? And it's very possible that maybe she sees this, and if she does, hopefully she can maybe see what I'm talking about, because I'm not mad or anything about anything anymore. My mind state was, look, I'm totally fine being friends. That's totally fine. But I wanted to know, like, okay, you want to be friends? That's cool. But what did you find out? Because if it's that bad, you know what I mean, to where like it changes it seems like it changed her whole perception on me, then I want to at least know, because I don't want it to be something that will like she thinks it's this thing that happened, and in reality it's fake, or you know what I mean, it's some like lie or whatnot. So I wanted to know, and looking back, I should just let it go. I know that that's my mistake. I'll I won't do that ever again. But I kept asking her, and then it just got into it's got to a point where it shouldn't have gotten to, right? And eventually, like, we kind of like belittled each other, and it got to a point where like I called her name, not like a bad name, like I didn't say she was a bitch or anything like that, obviously. Um, and she didn't say I was a bitch or anything, but like I said she was kind of like acting like a child and this or that, and um, just ever since then we just stopped talking. And that till this day I'm not mad about that anymore. But it's just one of those things where it's like I wish she would have told me. I really do, because this is the thing. She said she found something out that like someone told her, and I have no idea if it's one of her friends that I knew in high school, which, by the way, I didn't talk to any girl in high school or junior high really at all, or if it's one of my friends that I knew, like Daniel or Christian, which, looking back, maybe it was Christian. I wouldn't be surprised looking back now. Or maybe, and this is probably the most realistic situation, maybe she didn't find anything out. Maybe that was her way of just kind of like trying to get off me, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I just don't mess with you anymore, which is fine, but it would have been better in my mind, and let me know if you guys agree with this too. Would it not have been better if once she saw in her head that I started getting feelings, she would be like, yo, I think if you're getting feelings, I just want to let you know that I'm not looking for a relationship right now. And she would just kind of done it in that kind of way instead of just leading me on. Because she said, by the way, she was like, you know, I don't like you, and like, I've been giving you subtle hints or like obvious hints or something like that, and you just haven't caught on, and your chat keeps egging it on, blah blah blah, and I'm just done, blah, that kind of thing. And in my mind, I just didn't see the hints, because she said the whole thing about how we would still be together if we didn't, or if we continued talking back then, and this and that. And in my mind, I'm like, it's just, you know, it's just a lot of like missing parts to the story here that I don't think we'll ever get like found, if that made sense. And I know that's just how it is in life, and I know that, she doesn't necessarily owe me an explanation or anything. If I get one, cool, but I don't expect it. And, to her, I wish her nothing but the best, and that's why I sent the text message, and I don't want it to be conceived any other way, because, you know, I care about her, and I care about my ex, that was bipolar and all that. I care about everyone. I'm just not a person I hate, right? And this is where I want people to know is I am too nice of a person where it is so easy, especially for women, and a lot of people know this, to use me. I am too forgiving, and um I'm too fixated on fixing people and not kind of rebuilding myself, to where I don't see red flags sometimes until I'm out of a relationship or out of a friendship, or until I take a step back. And, that's something I gotta fix, because, I mean, with this situation, which I know I talked about in a different video, but still, with the situation with Christian, um, I should have probably cut him off way before that. And I still, to this day, I don't hate him for taking $8,000. It's weird. I don't hate, like, I seriously believe, like, if I was dating someone who I thought was the love of my life, and she, like, cheated on me, like, I walked in, she was with another dude, I seriously believe I wouldn't hate I still wouldn't hate her. Like I would like probably take her back or something. That's just I don't know why, and that's more a reflection of me than anyone else, obviously. Um, and that's something I gotta fix, 1000%. But you know, to kind of summarize everything up, like I don't know when I'll ever get a girlfriend really, but when I do, gotta make sure it's the right one. You know what I mean? Um, and yeah, again, I don't hate any girl, and I've done things with even girls I haven't did yet on stream. I'm not gonna name names just 'cause I don't want it to be weird. But like, I've made a fool of myself. I've, thought things were what they weren't, and done stuff that I regret, and I'm just trying to be a better person. But um, yeah, if you're watching this, I don't know if I'll make another video, but this is the third video I've made, I believe. So you know, if you guys are watching this, I appreciate it. If you guys want to send me a, not send me, but like, like the video, subscribe, or follow my TikTok underscore, or not underscore, but Slim Prodigy with extra Y. I appreciate it. You don't have to, obviously, but either way, I love you guys, and hopefully I get back to streaming sometime soon.